going to do? One girl's already crying because the other guy's not helping. And I'm like, you got to tell me, but this is what's going to happen. And I get the other guy, and I'm like, here's what I need you to do. I need you to take this table's order, and then you're going to jump a table, and then you're going to take that table's order. And we're just going to go counterclockwise, clockwise, and spiral in. That's how we're going to do this, right? And he starts to walk away. The other person walks up, and he sees her walk up to me, and he goes, he stops halfway through the room. He's on his way to take an order. I'm happy about it. He turns around. I'm unhappy about it. He comes back to me, and he's like, I just need to understand. And I cut him off flat, and I go, I need you to work the banquet. And he goes, what? I go, work the banquet, please. He's like, well, I'm like, work the banquet, please. And I'm literally knife handing at the table.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Like, I don't think, like, banquets are a different animal, right? They require a certain level of precision. Like, things have to happen on time because you're serving 50 people all at the same time. But anyway, it worked out in the end. But I was like, I'm watching this happen and immediately going, oh, so. Hold on. Let me put on my headphones.
He's saying that your frame looks like you got kicked.
God, I did. I didn't do it. One of them did it.
Well, we tried. Hey, look, there's Casey.
Hey. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Casey. How you doing?
I'm tired.
Not as tired as him.
Not, probably, I mean, no. I mean, I spent two 13-hour days here, but that's, nothing compared to what he had to do. Because
I was in here for Friday, and I feel for you on Saturday.
Yeah. No,
Not sure I could have been in here smoking cigars on Saturday. I mean, I would have if I was off. I would have been here for sure, but.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday was a little crazy.
So why don't we go over real fast for, entirely selfish reasons. What happened on Friday and Saturday, like why it was what it was, and how it went as a private event.
Well, Friday and Saturday we had Brother James's birthday extravaganza.
Who was, for the record, going to talk a little shit because I'm gassed and you're gassed. So when he's like, now he was the birthday boy. I'll give him that. However, the whole goal was that he was going to be in here tonight on the podcast.
Yes, and
strangely,
he got destroyed.
Yes. Although he did leave this whiskey for me, which I will tell everyone about later.
Yes, that he did bring us a nice bottle, and then we still have that Booker's back there for you too.
Oh, sweet.
Yes.
Plus his buddies, plus G's Tequila, which we'll review at a later date.
Yes.
Why am I hearing an echo? I don't care that much.
Oh, I don't know.
But anyway, back about the party.
Yes.
Because this is what we want to do in here more often, right?
Yes.
Like it's sort of the perfect little size for a 20 to 30 person smoke.
I think I've already got one on the books.
Really?
For one of James's friends.
Sweet.
Yes.
So they're good people.
They are fantastic group.
Yeah, except for the dude that called me out for not remembering him.
What do you look like?
Tinsdale.
Oh yeah.
Somebody called you out for not remembering him.
Yeah, and I didn't. I was just like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I didn't want to be a dick, but I'm like, I'm sorry.
You only met him once, right?
Yeah, and I've been in the shop a lot. He's probably been here since. I felt bad. Like, they're all such cool guys. Like, they're so rad. But he just flat out, he's like, I'm not other people. And I was like, oh, here we go.
Oh, you know what? That was just his personality. He's a huge fan of yours.
Yeah,
So,
he's really cool.
I want you to know that he's a huge fan of yours. He was just jonesing you for a little
giving me
bit.
shit.
Yeah, that's honestly the whole group is like that.
Yeah, I get
that. I think that's why I blended with him so well. Is because I just dish out nothing but shit, and they love every single. They kept trying to get me all night, and I just kept coming back with bangers.
That makes
and
a
they're
lot
just
of sense.
like, oh motherfucker.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they were here for 3 nights.
2.
2.
2 nights.
Okay.
Yeah, but 3 would have killed me.
3 would have.
3 would have been terrible.
But it was a good night. I mean, what were they here for? Like 4 hours each time?
4 for Saturday, 4.5, and then, or no, Friday, and then Saturday they came in an hour later, so it was about 3.5 hours.
Okay.
Saturday, but Saturday we were more busy than the club was, so we draw the attention of passerbyers as well.
Oh, that was true on Friday though. Also,
It was more so on.
okay.
Saturday.
So you picked up a bunch of extras,
I-
and they invited him in.
I think
I'm
I
guessing.
shut the club down because of how busy we were.
I love it.
Yeah.
The most exciting thing happening in a dying casino.
And you know what? I'm glad it happened yesterday because apparently the GM was walking around late.
Oh yeah.
So I hope he saw how much fun and entertainment we were providing his casino.
Yeah, I mean that'd be good. Someone told me that this property is off market, being negotiated for by MGM.
No.
I don't know if that's
Ooh,
accurate.
MGM.
I'd be surprised if that was the case. I don't think MGM wants into this market.
Yeah, I don't know if I want it.
He's also thrown out some random statistics. He said some things that were patently false. Because he's like, he's probably 10 years older than I am, maybe 15, and he goes, yeah, man. Because I was talking about Southlake, and he goes, Lucky Beaver. He goes, I've been ditching classes in high school to go to Lucky Beaver since '86. And I was like,
no, you haven't.
no, that's wrong.
That's false.
And he's like, what? I'm like, Lucky Beaver's only been there about 12 years.
If that.
Yeah, 10, 12 years.
10, maybe 10. I think they just celebrated 10 years.
Didn't they
And he's-
open up after the casino shut down there?
Yeah.
Yeah. After Bills was torn out.
And he's like, that's not true. And I go, yeah, no, tis.
I love that he's arguing with a guy who worked in Bills as a bartender.
Right, who worked in that building when
pretty-
it wasn't Lucky Beaver.
Pretty close to that time, wasn't it?
No, I left Bills in 05.
Oh, you were there at the tail end of Bills.
Yes.
Okay.
I was still pretty young. And then I went back to,
Yeah, but in the 80s, weren't you going there when it was the McDonald's on the second floor? Like, that was the place
and
to go.
And the Bennigans.
Yeah. Oh, the Bennigans.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss that place.
But
Things
he's
I
like,
know
what
nothing.
was it before Lucky Beaver? I go, it was Bills. And that spot was sort of, I mean, it was mostly just a hole and the table games pit. I go, but it was, tangentially the Roadhouse and then Bar 24. And he's like, oh, yeah, like he knew what he was talking about.
Oh, that's
See,
funny.
I could be honest and say I know nothing about Bills or when that was anything else.
Most people wouldn't. Most of the people that remember Bills in this town turns people over fast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the people that remember Bills are long gone. I'm just one of the suckers that stuck around. Me and Casey.
Yeah, but you love the mountains.
That's fair. I mean,
but-
I don't know why I'm still here.
But it was funny. Like, I just flat out called him out. I'm like, nah, it's not true. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, it's not true. Yeah. He's like, how long has Lucky Beaver been there? Like 10, 12 years?
10, 12 years, buddy. Nice try.
Well, tops.
Oh, that's pretty good, though.
Anyway, so you're happy with the private party? They were all happy, I'm assuming?
They were happy. We have gone through some bottles now. You'll be happy to know we've cleared up some space in the back.
Oh, yeah, dude, the way they were drinking? Yeah.
And I managed to somehow go through every single piece of glassware we had and some.
Oh, I believe it.
Like, I had to find glassware at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Didn't want to wash any.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
it
couldn't
takes
keep
an hour to wash the glasses.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Thankfully, Gerald had his taster cups for the tequila, which he promoted the crap out of his tequila.
But you should. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
It's really good.
It's he's doing it right. I wish he had another 18 months in the agave. But where that would show the most is the Blanco, and the Blanco has really good. Like, it's not whatever soil that agave is growing in is solid because you don't taste the youth. Like, it's got like nice earthy notes. It's got some bright citrus to it. It's really good.
I thought it was fun. I put that Blanco in the fridge. I want to try it cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that.
But I was impressed. I was a little worried when he said how old it was. I was like, oh. But then I tried it. It's like, hey, whatever they're doing right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. And we're on the ground floor, so if they ever make any cool special bottles, we're gonna get one.
Right?
Yeah.
You can do a barrel pick.
Ooh. The High Sierra cigar barrel.
Our first
pick.
barrel pick is tequila.
It'd be
Yeah.
all three of us. Just picking tequila.
What are you guys doing? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry
ask
about it.
silly questions.
Welcome to the Daily Torch.
Oh, yeah, look at that. You finally brought us in.
I remembered.
Shit.
And we should say that.
Funny
to
part
people.
was it wasn't even on you.
That's all right. That's
It's okay.
I don't honestly. I'm I'm here, going through the motions.
Dude, he's hamburger. So am I.
That is true.
I mean, just hamburger.
I think all three of us are.
Legitimately,
but you guys a little bit more.
Legitimately, yesterday, I like was picking up some trash and I dropped a bottle, like a plastic bottle, and I looked at it on the ground, and I was really just debating kicking it out of the door and making somebody sweep it up because it hurt to just try to like think about bending over to get it, and I was like, oh.
So what you're saying is you need a claw for here.
I need a hot tub for a day and just be like, soak.
Yeah, dude, staying here that late on Friday, that hurt. That hurt me.
I know. I felt bad for you because I was like, I can go home at 5 and wake up at 2 and be okay. You had to get up at 7. I was like, oh man.
How late did you stay here Friday? 1?
No, I left not quite that late. What time did I leave, Casey?
I think you left at 1.
You think it was 1?
I think it might have been 1:15.
God.
Actually, because I looked at my clock and I was like, he's still here and he has to get up in like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I
No
was
wonder
like,
I felt like such shit.
that's why I kept going. I was like, hey man, you can go. Like you don't have to be here. Like I know you're having fun, so you're an adult. You can do your own decisions, but I worry about you.
Oh, and then I had that. I mean, the weather's amazing. So busy lunch, busy opera, banquet at dinner. It's like,
Dude, so I woke up today in just like a huge like pile of sweat. I don't know why. And I was like, what the hell's going on? I look outside. It was 62 degrees and sunny and beautiful. And I'm like,
Ugh.
it's a really nice fucking day.
yeah, you're like, oh my God, the sun.
I
What do
was
I do
like,
with that
whoa,
shit?
the sun's out, but it's 62 degrees. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. What's going on, guys?
How you doing?
Pretty good, man. You want some cigars?
Oh, yeah.
Do me a favor, watch that tripod.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. All right. What about your week, Kevin? Did you do anything fun? Or?
Nah, I worked a lot, and
Yeah.
then the funnest thing I did was go to Frey Ranch.
Oh, yes. You did go to Frey Ranch.
Yeah, it was
How
right
was that?
after my son's wrestling match. He lost, but he still got 3rd place.
Hey, 3rd place. That's a trophy.
That's right.
That's a podium.
That it is. He got a medal. So he made qualifiers. So after this qualifier, he'll go to Lovelock for the next one. And I don't know if I could drive out there and make it in time because I missed his actual match.
Oh, the match. Yeah.
And I got there and I'm waiting for a second match and it never happened.
Oh.
So then grandparents took the youngest and he spent the night with them. And the oldest wanted to ride the bus back and they didn't leave till like 6.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, I got time.
Yeah.
It's like 3 o'clock. I'm like, I'm going to Frey Ranch.
Nice. How was the tour? Was it fun?
It was. So the tour is free.
Okay.
And the tastings are free.
Oh.
That's right.
Oh, did you tell them you had some of the stuff before? Or?
I've told them I've had your stuff. I'm like, do you? I while we were on the tour,
Yeah.
I asked them how often they watch anybody's reviews.
Yeah.
He's like, we actually watch quite a few of them, and he named off one, and I forget the name of it. And he asked if I heard of them, and I'm like, yeah, they sound familiar. And they did at the time. I just don't remember their name.
Okay.
But we were talking, and he's like, you have one? And then I told him our podcast, and I told him we shoot Sundays, gave him a card.
Perfect.
I was looking for my business cards. I didn't have any of those.
Oh, you just had the podcast cards.
That's right. I should have
Okay.
took some
Should-
stickers.
yeah, you should have,
I got to
yeah.
keep that stuff on me next time.
Yeah, man. I know. I think about that too, and I'm like, oh, I gotta carry that stuff around in case I need it.
Right? And I usually do, and I just forgot the rest of it.
Well, that's good because we're up to like 106 now, I think.
Yeah.
So we're getting there.
He said that he was gonna take a look at it and he'll probably give us a follow. Not to mention, he says that they tend to do things with smaller companies because somehow it works out for him. He said he's like
Oh,
it
I
always
mean,
does.
It always does. Yeah, I mean,
Like the bigger companies, not so much, but the smaller ones, we tend to have a good time and
yeah,
figure
and
things out.
Conveniently, we've already gone through a few of theirs,
Yeah,
so we've already got some material.
that's right. And you guys tag Freight Ranch in
Yeah,
most of the
yeah,
videos. So.
exactly. Exactly.
I was just happy that they said that they do watch them. So,
Yeah, that's a big deal.
and if I could throw our name out there, maybe we can.
Anytime, man. You never know.
You never know. Yeah.
You never know.
His name was Jesse. Did I bring his card in? I don't think I
you
brought his
said
card in.
you said you had it, but you
I have
just-
it. I got to bring it in. I think I left it in my my
the car.
pants
Okay.
at home.
Okay. Well, don't wash it.
No, I usually clear out my pockets.
Oh.
At least I try to. I did a
There you go.
I just dropped my fill.
You
Look
lost
at
it?
that. Yeah.
You lost it?
Turned into a Spurberg.
Were you tasting something?
I tasted a couple. There was an oat one. They sold out of that single barrel that they put out each month.
Yeah.
And they sold out of it right away. They
dude,
said they put it out at the end of the month. I'm like,
Oh.
I'm gonna come back.
Now you know when to go.
I'm like,
End of the month.
I'm gonna start messaging him. Hey,
Yeah.
is it there yet?
Nice. That'd be cool.
Because I was asking a bunch of that, and I'm like, we should all three go. And I was gonna put that in the message thing, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to say that while Will's on here. I'm like, I don't think you would care, but at the same time, it's like one of those things.
No, that's
And
that's fair. That's fair.
Mind you, he's probably watching this.
But I'd be excited to go. I'm sure Lane would like to go.
I think he would like to go too. It's a short tour, but I mean it was nice, and he
Where
had
the
it down.
fuck did I put my cigar?
But he had the tour down, and he showed like the different processes. Like they have two continuous units, and then they have
They're called column stills.
they have 2 column stills and 1 old school brass still.
Pot
That's
still. It's
pot still.
Pot still.
Yeah,
Oh.
that thing was pretty damn big. You saw the picture.
Yeah.
It's big.
Look,
And I'm like,
They don't have it at their tasting room anymore.
Nope.
But there's supposed to be 30 cases going to Northern Nevada for retail. They have a smoked single malt that I desperately want to try.
A smoked single malt.
I had
Yeah,
a
so it's smoked, it's barley.
I had a multi-grain single malt while I was there.
It's not artificial.
No such thing as a multigrain single malt.
It was a multi-grain something. Is it what is it? Multi-grain,
You had the 4-grain.
4-grain?
You had the 4-grain.
Okay. It says I thought it said multi-grain on the bottle.
Maybe. But then I don't think it could be a single malt. I mean, listen, it could be. Listen, I don't know the rules for single malt that well, because I'm not a Scotch drinker, but I don't think you could do a multigrain single malt.
I don't know the rules at all.
Anyway,
They
I wanted
were-
to try that bottle. I didn't. I waited because they were like, it's coming to retail. So I never drove out there to get it, and then I haven't seen it in retail. Although Jeff said he would hold me a bottle.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Did you pop that one bottle open? Forester?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
No, not yet. I'm
curious.
I'll
Oh,
bring
you-
it in. I'll bring it in here.
You have another Old Forester?
Oh. Kevin found in 1924.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did you find
I'll-
that?
At Minden.
And then
Really?
apparently the whole northern Nevada only got like 7 cases,
I believe it.
and he only got like 12 bottles.
Oh, wow.
To my knowledge, so he only sold the one to me to your dad, which I was
Yeah.
buying for you,
Yeah.
and then I haven't tried to get another one yet.
Yeah, so I thought you were buying one, is what happened there.
Yeah.
So that's why, because
I-
I was at work and I was at the other side of the lake.
Yeah, I could
It's
have
like-
specified more.
And it's down where, my dad lives. I'm like, hey, can you run an errand for me real fast? So, anyway.
Kevin's
Well,
like your alcoholic Padawan learner.
It opened me up to buy a couple other bottles, so I mean, it worked out.
Yeah, when I open it, We'll open it in here.
Yeah.
And try it.
Nice.
I'll bring it in.
I'm excited for that.
I mean, we've got a bunch of stuff to try, so.
Yeah, and he got a couple other new bottles in. They weren't out for sale yet, but they're gonna be like 180, and it's one of the rare characters, but I don't know which one it is.
If it's the exceptional series, I want one.
I think it's the exceptional series. I
So-
don't know if it was his case though. I think it was another place's case.
I still want one.
Yeah, but yeah,
And if you are offered another bottle of 24 and you don't want it, I want that one too.
and you haven't even tried the first one.
Nope. I don't care.
He's not gonna offer.
There's
it
also
squirrely.
a 14-year Jack coming out.
Yes.
So I think
Yes.
I think I'm on a list for the 10 and the 12. So when Nevada gets it, I should get one of each.
All right.
I'm hoping. I'll at least get a 12. I should get the 10 too.
Okay.
But like baby blue is my favorite color, and it comes out in Jack is in baby blue. I'm like, oh, you sons of bitches! Like I want
Gotcha.
that bottle so bad.
Yep.
Are you getting on the
There.
list for that one too?
I expect I will. Where I'm at the like, because I don't make special requests to this place. I walk in, whatever they have, and I'm really cool if it's stuff that I have a bunch of. Like, they get like the Blantons, the Eagle Rare, the E.H. Taylors. I'll try. I'm like, no, I've got enough. Like, leave that for people that need it. So they're really cool.
Nice.
But I was like, hey, I know I'm not the special request guy, but if there's a list for the Jacks, the aged Jacks, like I want on it. And she was like, "Yep, you're on.
Done.
I'll text you." And then I told her, I'm like, "There's another one. I think it's gonna be 15. Turns out it's 14." It's like, "There's another one coming at some point. I don't know when." And she's like, "I
Done.
gotcha." It's like, "Oh, thank God. That's so cool."
Man, you guys you're stepping up your booze game. I'm gonna have to like contribute somehow.
I know, right? My garage is like 20 bottles.
So the Rare Care Exceptional Series is American Single Malt.
Is it? Because there was like each bottle has like a picture done on it, like different.
Yeah,
like a
well,
portrait
they're
almost.
barrel picks, I think. So, like, one of them came out, and the retail on it was like $350 because it was a 16-year-old American single malt or something ridiculous like that.
Wow.
I did not see that one. I'm told it was phenomenal.
Wow.
But to my knowledge, this one's supposed to be like right around 180.
That's fine. They're all right around 180. This
Yeah.
one, the 16-year was just. They're like,
Special.
it's gonna be more.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
I'll probably try and pick that up next week.
So this bottle that James left behind,
Yes.
Savage and Cook. It's young. It's a new company, but I'm interested in it because of whose company it is. So you guys know the Prisoner share that High West does.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So Prisoner Wine was started by a guy called Dave Finney. Dave Finney sold off Prisoner for $1 bajillion. Then started a company called Oren Swift, which is responsible for some of the best wines in Napa. He's a phenomenal winemaker. He does Mercury Head. We did Mercury Head. He's still on contract to be the winemaker, I'm pretty sure, even after the sale.
Okay.
And so his non-compete on Prisoner was 8 years. 8 years. And when it was done at Oren Swift, he recreated that blend with better grapes and called the wine 8 Years in the Desert just as a middle finger to the company that bought Prisoner and fucked it off so severely, because it is.
8 years in the desert.
It is.
That's awesome.
Prisoner is not good compared to what it was. And
Okay.
now it's a whole wine company. They do Chardonnays. It's all mass-produced swill. Like, it's just not good. The people that are drinking Prisoner now have no idea what it used to be. Oren Swift got bought by Gallo for like $3 bajillion.
Okay.
And then he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I do know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go make whiskey. So this is his whiskey. This is
Nice.
Dave Finney's whiskey. And this is actually his distillate. So it's young because it's only, the company's just barely 4 years old. So it's super young distillate. But I'll let you guys try it. Like, I tried it. The youth hides well. It's like
Yeah.
cornbread in a glass. It's sweet. You know, it's because it's young. But the corn, you know, a lot of young whiskeys are just flat out offensive, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, the corn is sour. It just doesn't taste right.
Right.
And this isn't. This is really good. I mean,
Oh.
for what it is, it's really, really good.
Okay.
I mean, I would love to try this with another 5 or 6 years on it.
Ooh.
Well, so
I
we'll,
haven't
keep,
even
we'll have
tried
to
it
keep
yet.
our eye
I'll
out
have
on
to
it.
try it.
Well, it's just a matter of time. Like,
Do they
4
do-
years from now, I can buy that bottle.
What else do they do?
He's got 3 regular bottles. They're all little short, square bottles.
Okay.
Burning Chair and I don't know. There's like 3 of them.
Okay.
But he's also like, he's notorious for like really artsy labels. This is about the plainest label I've ever seen him do.
Fair.
Like, if you go into the Oren Swift tasting room, he's got skateboard decks turned upside down with the wine labels from all of his bottles mounted on the wall. And he's got his Syrah has got like his Petite Syrah. Petite Syrah blend. I don't know. He's got 4 or 5 different labels for it. And it's all like old muscle cars and girls in bikini and shit's on fire. Like, it's, you know, he just doesn't care.
It's a bottle made for us, Casey.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right up our alley right
The
there.
dude has legitimately made like $1 billion selling wine companies. And he's like,
Nice.
whatever. I do what I want.
They'll try a bourbon
Oh,
company next.
so he knows how to become a millionaire.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's good to know.
Hey, Nico, thanks for coming in and picking up that cigar. Let us know how you like it and leave us a comment on what you think.
Oh, sweet. This is the guy I just sold. He bought a Fat Bottom Betty.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I mean, it's
Bottom Betty.
if you're looking for a sweet cigar, like the Fat Bottom Betty is such a no-brainer.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, sweet, and it doesn't have that acid.
Yeah. This is the
Yeah.
thing. Like, I want good tobacco, but I don't want an acid.
Yeah.
Here you go.
There it is. Right in the wheelhouse.
Anyway, so that's Savage and Cook. And James, it's super distributed in California, like down outside of Napa, where James is from. So he brought us up a bottle.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And it's just cornbread and caramel.
It did smell like
Sounds-
cornbread.
it sounds good. I'm gonna have to try that.
It threw me off. How's it taste? Does it taste like cornbread?
Yeah, does it carry over to the palate?
A little bit less. It does. I mean, you get the corn sweetness and the caramel, but you also get, what you don't get on the nose, the Cabernet finish. So this is finished in Cabernet barrels because he's a cab guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Mercury Head has scored 100 points, I think, twice, maybe three times. Like, it's
Okay.
not unnoteworthy.
Yeah.
But you don't get the cab on the nose, but you do on the palate.
Do you think
Okay.
it was finished in one of those barrels?
Oh, I don't know what he finished it in. I mean, he's got access to whatever he wants. He's Napa royalty at this point. And he doesn't even, like, there was a long time when he didn't own grapes in Napa. They were all on contract. He was just such a good buyer that he could do whatever he wanted.
Oh, so he was actually outsourcing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, now now he could just go buy whatever he wants in Napa. After the sale of Orin Swift to Gallo, he made so much money.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Very cool.
I mean, they were just like, how much do you want? We double it. It's like, okay.
I wanted to try for my next tour. I wanted to go to that Minden Meat and Deli one, but not the Minden Meat and Deli, the other one, the Minden Brewery or whatever it is.
Oh, where the old Bentley foot one is?
Yeah.
Okay.
They changed the name. I forget what the name is now.
Oh, it's owned by Foley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Foley owns it, and they charge though to take you through there and do the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
tastings.
Well, Foley is also a wine company.
Yeah. I know you said that, and I know he also owns the Nuggets, not the Nuggets, the Golden Knights.
Does he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So there's actually two Foleys, and it's worse because they're both Robert in wine, and they're both phenomenally talented. This Foley, the one in Minden, was mostly a Pinot guy. Like, that's how he built his reputation.
I like Pinots.
The other one was the winemaker for Pride, I believe, and then started Robert Foley Vineyards, which is outstanding, and then still makes wine for, like, family-owned Napa vineyards, which are pretty rare at this point.
Are they brothers or
Like, no, I don't think so. They're both named Bob. I doubt it.
fair?
They're like Bob 1 and Bob 2. But he makes wine for, like, Switchback Ridge, which is super allocated, phenomenal family-owned vineyard. Like, but the Foley that bought this, his wines, his Pinots are outstanding.
I like Pinot, so maybe he'll start doing some Pinot finish.
A good Pinot you've seen sideways.
Dude, every time someone brings up Sideways, because they're always like, I'm not drinking any fucking Merlot. And I'm like, do you know the inside joke of that movie? And they're like, no, there's an inside joke. And I'm like, yes, there is. Yeah.
Yes, there is.
So, Sideways. He makes fun of two grapes in Sideways, Merlot and Cabernet Franc. That $15,000 bottle he's drinking at the end,
Yes. In the
Is-
styrofoam cups.
a Bordeaux blend called Cheval Blanc.
In styrofoam cups.
Yes.
Yes, that is, in fact, a Merlot Cabernet Franc blend.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're in the business, it's kind of a funny joke, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just cool.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome.
Good Merlot is good.
I don't think I've actually had Merlot.
Ever?
Yeah,
Really?
I find that hard to believe.
you can. I don't
Merlot
drink
was
wine
like
all that
Merlot
often.
was like Chardonnay. Like, the reason Merlot gets a bad reputation is because you can grow it anywhere, right? So they would take the best land for Cab, and then they would put Merlot on mediocre land because they couldn't sell it for as much regardless of what land it was grown on.
Right.
Outside of a couple of vineyards in France, which, you know, you can get all the money in the world for. These aren't those. There's a couple exceptions: Pride, Switchback Ridge, a couple of others. Doesn't matter. But so they would put it on mediocre land, and it would still taste okay. So you could still sell that bottle for, you know, $45 or whatever. Most people don't notice the difference. It's a little bit less complex than Cab,
I've had,
especially when done average. But it was pervasive. It was everywhere. Like, it was Chardonnay and Merlot forever is what you served at, like, dinner parties.
yeah, I can honestly say I've never had it.
And then California's wine palette got really good.
It just took a minute.
What was that? Was it was a Syrah you brought in one time?
Me?
Yeah.
Any idea what the bottle was? It could have been
It's like a black bottle. It's like smoke something or
Sea Smoke.
Yeah, Sea
no, that's
Smoke. Is that a
that's
Syrah?
Pinot. They've been accused many times of blending in some Petite Syrah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that they do, but they're like that is an inky dark Pinot.
Yeah, but it was really good when you brought it in.
Yeah, I haven't bought my allocation in a couple years, but they keep me on the list for some reason. I think it's because I'm on the I buy this for restaurants list and not the I buy this personally list.
Oh.
Although we'll also give you a couple cases every year for yourself if you want it.
Not a bad list to be on.
But Sea Smoke forever, it's still pretty hard to get, but forever it was really hard to get.
Oh, okay.
And then like I was on the waiting list for that for 6 or 7 years. And then I ran into someone when I was opening Hard Rock as a buyer.
Okay.
And one of the distributors had a supplier up who had a connection to them. And I was bringing in a bunch for Park Prime for the steakhouse.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, let me text somebody. And then magically, like 10 days later, my allocation came through.
Nice. Nice. That
That's
stuff's
pretty good.
That stuff's it's tasty. It really is.
My favorite Pinot from the Central Coast is actually a little family called Kinsey. It's got an owl on the label. Such good Pinot.
Really?
Such good Pinot.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a couple, not too many, but I like that duck horn that you got me that one time.
That wasn't. Did I get you a Duckhorn Pinot? Mm-hmm. I didn't get you a Duckhorn Pinot.
What'd you get me?
I don't think I would have bought you a Duckhorn Pinot. First of all, it wouldn't have said Duckhorn on the label. It would have said Goldeneye.
I remember there being a duck on the label, and I remember it being a Pinot.
Okay.
It was like a small little duck.
I mean, to my knowledge, Duckhorn is still just doing Cabernet Merlot, Chardonnay, and Sauvignon Blanc, plus a dessert wine.
I wonder what that was.
Interesting.
Because you got it for me, for my grandma, for that Thanksgiving, because that's what she liked. I was trying to get her something nice.
Dude, I bought you the bottle that I would have bought for myself if there was more than one.
Yeah, and that's
And
what
it
it was.
wasn't the Duckhorn.
What was it?
It was, I can see the label.
I've been trying to figure out what that is because I want something similar to that or that bottle.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they have that
I
bottle.
still have to give you that Pine Ridge.
Pine Ridge?
Yeah, I still have that Pine Ridge, that white blend. That
The
I got
Cheval
from-
Blanc.
Oh,
Or not the
yeah.
Cheval, not Cheval Blanc. Oh, come on.
Yeah, I just hand my grandma wine during Thanksgiving and she's happy.
It's a little sweet, right?
Yeah,
That Pine Ridge.
it's like lemonade almost.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's delicious.
It's like I would drink it with something savory, like savory charcuterie before dinner.
Got it.
It's not gonna balance out well with a full dinner.
I drank it with her on an empty stomach.
No, the one he's gonna give you.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. And if you drink it by itself, a half glass is plenty. Because
like-
it's very,
Yeah,
like it's
it's-
off dry and very fruit forward.
Yeah,
Got
it was really good with the Pine Ridge. I was like, I have to buy a bottle of this. It was really good.
So-
It'll come to me what it is.
Yeah, because that bottle, when you got it, I tried it, and me and my grandma sat there drinking. We drank the bottle pretty much empty before.
Dude, we're so tired. We're actually talking about alcohol and cigars for like the first time on the podcast ever.
Right.
Alcohol and booze,
Things we know.
right?
How's that barrel? I haven't tried it yet.
I'm actually liking it. When I bought it, I was kind of iffy on it because I'm like, it's a rum finish. I mean, the last rum finish I liked, but there's been a couple of finishes that just have thrown me off.
I haven't had a rum finish that I like yet.
Which one was the one that I got? It was. I thought it was from Utah.
Oh, it was. It was a
Yeah.
high. It was a High West.
It was a High West.
Yeah, High West.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that one a lot.
It was a barrel pick, finished in rum. Yeah, I didn't care for that one.
I know
he
you
didn't
didn't.
like that one.
You're not big on anything finished though.
I'm not.
You like you said, most of the time when it's finished, they're hiding something, and
Yeah, and I think a lot of finishes just mask what I want out of a bourbon. Like, I don't hate finished ryes. I've had some really good finished ryes. I've also had some really bad finished ryes.
I have you, so I don't have to try the bad
Like-
finish where
I got a barrel pick of the Penelope toasted rye that I thought was phenomenal. And then I bought the standard Penelope toasted rye, which is in the back, and I didn't care for it.
Yes, but the other Penelope that's in the back is fantastic.
You can suck a giant.
I
I bought that for you guys.
What was that
know.
Penelope? Didn't I tell you there was a Penelope at Minute Meat and Deli that I didn't like?
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. The flavor's off to me.
So what's back there is a Penelope Rio, which we're reviewing in a video after this.
No, cool.
It's
Yes.
Amberana and Honey Barrel finished.
Oh, yeah, you
Oh
said that.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So we're reviewing that in this upcoming video, like 3 different ones, or
We're doing 2 videos tonight, so we'll do that one, and then we're gonna review the VAT 69
VAT 69.
because I got it.
the look on your face just now says it all. It was like the, huh.
Honestly, for $12.30 a bottle or whatever I paid, it's really pretty good.
Okay.
I haven't
Yeah.
served it to anyone that didn't like it.
Fair.
So I got it because the girl that does our logos,
Yes.
we kept talking about it. She's like, "Do you have VAT 69?" I'm like, "No," and she's like, "Well, then I'm not coming up." I'm like, "Ooh, all right." So then she said like she was gonna get it, and then I don't think they found it. I found it somewhere outside the borders of this country that probably shouldn't be shipping here. And they sold me 3 bottles. The shipping cost me more than the whiskey. And I opened one of the bottles. I was like, all right, I got to try it.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could shoot it all day long. I mean, all day long.
Dude.
It is. Yeah.
Did you already give her bottle?
No, she hasn't come up yet. In fact, I invited her up here tonight, but she didn't come up. We'll get it to her. She actually can have 2 if she wants them. We'll just keep the remnants of the one that I opened.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. But it's actually impressively good for what it is.
There was something I was going to ask about that one thing you sent, that link.
Which one?
The one that looked like a Hoover in space for.
Oh,
moon?
the hydrogen 3 thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
supposed, for a second there, I'm like looking at it. I'm like, are we trying to terraform something or?
No. So that's so there's a company that they got funding basically to. It's essentially the first U.S. mining operation on the moon,
Okay.
and their goal is to mine hydrogen 3.
How are they getting it up there?
Well, rockets.
Well, yeah, but like, who's sending it up? Is NASA?
The
Is it-
company's building the device, and then I think they're going to use the SpaceX missile
Tesla?
to deliver it.
is that- okay.
No. Yeah. Is SpaceX?
Is that owned by?
I think that's
him?
Elon Musk. Yeah. Whichever one's the more successful one right now at getting the.
SpaceX is Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Elon.
Yeah.
So that one's going up.
The other one's Origin or something, or Blue Origin.
Blue Origin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Bezos.
Yeah, it's Bezos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're still doing that low orbit launch. They're not actually in space yet.
Got it. They're
So-
still working on it.
Yeah, but yeah. So hydrogen 3 is what we're looking for.
Like, what are we looking at? As just hydrogen.
No, hydrogen 3.
Hydrogen 3.
Yeah. So it turns out that there are certain like elements, right, that we can use to produce energy. The problem is that hydrogen 3 is very rare on the planet because it's a gas.
Right.
So we've only had small traces of it, but in theory, it's a super rich energy producing gas that also doesn't turn radioactive.
And we think it's on the moon.
Does it have the
There-
same problems as burning regular hydrogen?
As in, like, it's really hot.
No, in that the gas itself is molecularly very small, so you have to
You need
produce
tons of
like
it.
super high tolerances on all of your gaskets and all of your machinery to contain it,
Yes.
which is one of the problems with hydrogen because you actually increase the carbon debt building machinery with those tolerances, and then you have to try and chase it by burning hydrogen after the fact.
Yes. Theoretically, because we haven't had enough of it to really test,
We don't know.
we're not sure, but we need a large amount of it. And apparently, about, I think it's 300 miles south of where that rover was, is the site that they're thinking about launching, because that's where they think there's a huge buildup of hydrogen 3 on the actual moon.
Oh.
So this project is specifically for hydrogen 3.
I'm wondering how we get it. We're just gonna throw it in a canister, I'm guessing, and fly
You
it
know,
back.
it's a gas, so I imagine if we can build a gas containment unit, realistically, what this means is that you wouldn't ship it back to Earth. You would build a hydrogen 3 processing facility on the moon.
What would we process it into?
I think they would build because I think you have to get it out of the rock material. So I think it's breaking down the rock material to turn it into the gas.
So they wouldn't process it; they would refine it.
Yes.
Effectively.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of it was a lot of technical, theoretical reading that I had to do to get through that. I was like, I know what hydrogen 3 is from some science fiction, but I'm like, I honestly for a while thought that it was just fake, and then it turns out mostly like everything in science fiction, we seem to come up with the actual elements somewhere in the real world.
Did Cat's Cradle and Ice 9. Mm-hmm. For the record, kind of a terrifying sci-fi book when you're young. I read it when I was like 13.
Never read it.
Oh yeah.
So Ice 9, in the book, Ice 9 is a way to reorganize water so that it is solid at room temperature.
Yes.
Right? So it's, but if you introduce it to water, to a larger supply of water, all of that water reorganizes. So theoretically, if it slips into an ocean or something, all of the ocean becomes rock hard. And in the book, that happens.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then you have to melt it. And then after you melt it, it becomes regular water again when it falls to room temperature.
Oh.
Super strange book. Turns out we're well past Ice 9. It's not only a real thing, we're up to like Ice 26.
Yeah.
Like we're up to an ice that creates a crystalline structure where one of the molecules, and I forget whether it's the hydrogen or the oxygen, bounces between the other one in sort of a fluid state inside a crystalline structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
Sometimes, dude. Well, and I mean, Star Trek did it with dilithium. You know, in the '60s, dilithium wasn't a real thing, and it turns out it is actually a real thing. There is actual
it's what,
dilithium, but it's a liquid,
oxide?
not a solid.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, you're like, wow, science fiction coming real. But I'm curious about this hydrogen 3 thing, because if it is viable, then that is a whole new level of energy production that we have not.
Would they just use
seen.
it on the moon, or after they
I mean,
refine it, send it back? Or
We're talking like you could build a very large, like, starship reactor powered by hydrogen 3.
So we could have like the.
We're talking lots of energy, like huge and clean, non-radioactive. That's the one thing about it, is it doesn't produce, like, when you break certain molecules apart, they create radiation.
Correct.
Hydrogen 3
Yeah.
is one of the few that we know of right now that doesn't actually make radiation.
Okay.
So it's high energy output, no radiation.
Manageable high energy output.
Yes. Yeah, it's just the temperature problem.
As opposed to what we did with hydrogen the first time.
We don't talk about that unless it's the Oscars.
Oh, the Oscars. What else has happened? The Oscars. Some terrible movies have come out.
Yeah.
They have?
Fannie Willis was not disqualified from the Trump prosecution, which blew my mind. But the
because the
special
one-
prosecutor was.
Right, because they were sleeping together.
Yeah, although I think the it's not actually the Trump team that filed the complaint. It was one of the co-defendants' attorneys. I'm pretty sure they're going to file an ethical complaint with the bar now that she's almost definitely lied in front of a judge.
Ugh.
Yeah, under oath.
Oh, it's such a mess right now.
Yeah. I was actually surprised. I mean, I wasn't amazingly surprised. The judgment was actually pretty reasonable when you look at the judge. Like, it was the safe play. So, and that's what judges and attorneys do.
Right.
Safe play. There's not, like, outside of actuaries, I don't think there's a more risk-averse population on the planet.
Good old lawyers.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So,
There was an F1 thing that I saw for
Oh, dude, F1 is
it's-
so silly right now. It's amazing.
it was about the I think the contract for Lewis.
The Ferrari contract somehow managed to also get leaked.
Yeah, it said something about Horner as well.
They're I don't know what they're doing, dude. They suspended the person who made the complaint with pay pending the investigation.
and she filed a legal action.
Yeah, and then she turned around and filed.
But I don't think she filed the legal action against Red Bull. I think she filed it against Horner.
Well, she
Yeah.
she did two things. She filed it's an appeal, not only against the investigation. She also filed it with the FIA, and was like, "You guys need to get on top of this. Like, you need to figure out what's going on because."
I mean, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think Red Bull did that part right.
Yeah, I think, and the way that the statement from F1, the FIA came out was basically like, hey, you know, this isn't like we investigate claims like this very seriously, but as far as they're concerned, it sounds like they think Red Bull did the right thing too.
Are
So,
happy with the
yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to go
150
anywhere.
page report or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, that makes sense to me. They did it right. I don't
yeah.
know what happened, but the investigation itself seems to have been conducted properly.
I think they did the smart play. They went outside. They didn't keep it internal. And I think the people who need to know what the results of the investigation were know what the investigation was.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be out in the public.
I think everyone else, you know, when you talk about, you know, Fred Vasseur or Toto Wolff, I think they're just poking the bear.
Well, I mean, really, it's Toto, because Toto will do anything he can to jab at Red Bull. And Zach Brown is also going to do the same thing because he's still pissed off that they have two teams, technically, because of the RB.
Also that he's getting smoked.
And yeah, they're not having fun.
I mean, he's just bitter. Like everyone else is bitter.
It's
Because the one place where F1 is not exciting is on the track. At least not in the first position.
not the first position, but if you watch the rest of them, it's actually pretty good.
Right?
You eliminate the top two if Perez is on fire, and you're like, oh man, F1's really exciting without Red Bull in it.
It really would be. For the second season, if there was no Red Bull, it'd be an amazing competition.
Oh, man, dude, it would be legitimate. Like, you don't know what happens, but now that we know what happens, you're just kind of like, I guess we can take bets on who's going to be third in the championship. Like, I don't know
I haven't even
who.
looked to see. I did a fantasy. I'm not competing with Court, but I did a fantasy team anyway. And I don't, because it, like all the projections early were that like the best way to go was Perez, Red Bull. You use the extra money to get either Mercedes or Ferrari, and then a bunch of scrubs. And I went Verstappen, Red Bull,
And just a few scrubs.
Aston Martin, and then a bunch of scrubs.
Oh, that Aston's not impressive.
And I think honestly, the first couple races, Perez, the first race I scored really well. The second, like relative to everybody else, the second race I think you would have been better off going the Perez route because
Yeah.
he passed some cars and you get points
Yeah.
for that. The problem is when do you make the move? Because at some point, I just don't believe that Perez's performance. He's going to get frustrated and start driving badly. I think.
I mean, it's Checo, so probably after the sixth race is probably the time to do it. He holds it together real well, and then all of a sudden he just starts to flounder, and you're like, "Come on, Checo, you have a fast car. I know it's made for Max only, but come on."
We should have the NFL Combine and draft coming up. Did the Combine already happen?
Yes, the combine happened. The draft did not.
Okay. The
And
draft's in April, right?
The draft is April 17th, I think.
It's kind of sad. The NFL disappears, right? And then they do stupid shit like the combine and the draft, and it still has higher ratings than any other live sporting event on TV that day.
I mean, I'm excited for the UFL.
You would be.
I am very excited for the
I
UFL.
don't like football that much.
I know, but it's
I don't
exciting.
like college football. I barely watch NFL anymore because I'm so busy. But
I mean, at least we know where Caleb Williams is going.
do we?
Yeah, well, so Russell's on the Steelers for 1 year,
Yeah.
sitting pretty with the $1.2 million the Steelers are paying him and the $38 million that the Broncos are paying him. And then I think it was yesterday, the Bears traded Justin Fields to the Steelers as well
Okay.
to clear room for.
So the Steelers
Caleb
are
Williams.
deciding not to go with Pickett, who was their guy.
Pickett is now a backup for the Eagles.
Oh, is he?
Yes,
Okay.
he's on the Eagles now.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of moves happened yesterday and the day before. It was kind of actually interesting.
That kind of surprises me because they were so sold on him.
Yeah, I think they're going to groom Fields now.
Yeah.
I think Fields is he's gonna do what he needs to do, which is sit behind somebody with
With
some
a similar
experience.
playing style.
Yeah, I mean they were showing the stats from last year, and you really couldn't tell the difference between Russell and Justin. Like they were practically the same scores, like same passing rating, same amount of yards, basically the same QB rating.
So
Like, it
they're
was-
assuming that Justin Fields, with his being younger and faster and more resilient at this point, if he learns some of what Russell Wilson knows, can be better than either of them were producing last season.
yes,
I'm
I think
assuming.
that's the play.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the problem is though they're going to take Caleb at the Bears, and I feel bad for Caleb because he's just going to be there, there's no one for him to sit behind to learn from. So he's got to crash course his way through the Bears, which is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard for a young quarterback not named Tom Brady.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, and there's some news about Jimmy
Or
G.
Mahomes.
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. He is a backup for the Rams now.
Okay.
He's no longer where he was.
Well, where was he?
He was the Raiders.
Oh, well, who are they going to have?
I think they're going to draft a QB.
I mean, I think there's a bunch of good ones. I haven't looked at the class, but I think there's a fair number this season.
I think there's 4 or 5 solid picks for QB.
There's my lighter. I was like, did I lose my lighter already?
I want to say the kid from Alabama is one of them. And you got Caleb, which is clearly going to go for the Bears. Although some guys are saying maybe not. Like they might actually take Caleb. They might take somebody else.
Well, he didn't have a strong final season.
No, he did not. His last season was much more entertaining
Yeah.
than this season was, for what I watched of college.
He didn't get hurt or anything.
No, he was just playing safe, so he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, and for some reason the Trojans line wasn't doing good on defense sometimes, so he was just getting clobbered a couple times, and you
On
saw that
offense,
shake
you
his that shaked his confidence a little bit a few times. You saw him make silly throws and just get in his own head, which happens because you don't have that.
That
like,
happens to every quarterback, though. The Super Bowl that Mahomes lost to Tampa Bay, he was getting hit. Tom Brady, like the best way to shake Tom Brady for his entire career was to take advantage of the offensive line.
Yeah, it was starting.
Now it was hard to do because that offensive line was phenomenal for most of his career.
Yes, I mean, it is. He's a very good quarterback.
Dude, there were times, and he's not exactly mobile, and there were times watching him, mid-career, you're like, did anybody want to hit him at some point? Like, does anybody want to do anything here that looks like football? Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, and then did you guys read the article I sent you about the offshore wind farm? That's
Yeah, I
up and
started
running
looking
now?
at it.
I did not, but I did see, in part of a podcast, they were talking about offshore wind farming being a fiasco.
Yeah.
What was it?
I mean, offshore wind farming is it makes sense, right? Because there's a bunch of wind coming off the ocean and nothing in the way. But you also have to put them far enough away that they're out of the way of shipping lanes and stuff like that.
Which on the West Coast is kind of challenging.
Yes, that's why this one's off of 35 miles off of New York.
Oh, okay, this is East Coast.
Yeah, it's East Coast.
Although also not an unbusy port.
No, right? But somebody then has to go out there
And do work.
Work.
You also have to transmit the power effectively.
Again, yeah. Like the thing that always is funny to me about the energy crisis when they're like, "Oh, there's an energy crisis." I'm like, there's a battery crisis. We can produce energy, we can't store it.
Yeah.
Like we make energy, we burn coal and we make energy. It just has to go out. We can't sit on it.
Well, even if there's not a battery, although there is a battery problem, but there's also just a transmission problem.
Yeah, because it loses its viability each distance it travels, right? Mm-hmm. It starts to lose its,
I thought they were talking about putting underwater turbines.
Well, that's the thing is, the underwater turbine, because of the tide, is a more efficient because you're not worried about the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how badly are you going to screw with the ecosystem at the bottom of the ocean?
That's exactly what every biological scientist says.
we did it with all of the nuclear power plants that were on the ocean that ran their cooling lines through ocean water, created an entirely different ecosystem through that section of ocean. Like the ecosystem off of Diablo in San Luis Obispo, for that area is completely different than the rest of the ocean, like immediately surrounding it.
Is that just because it's warmer?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a temperature raise.
Okay.
A
so
substantial
so
temperature.
is it like tropical fish moving in there? Or?
I mean, we talk about different types of algae bacteria growing in the heat.
Right.
Like, the fish that are used to the cooler temperatures, they go away. And so then the other predators start to come in. And it's a whole different world.
Oh, yeah, it's completely changed the shark habitat, the great white habitat off the coast there.
Yeah.
Are they more prevalent now?
I believe so.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they prefer that's why they were always going around, because they were following the warmer spots.
Got it.
And now there's like these pools of warmer spots, and it's like, why would we leave? We
Permanent
can just
pool.
stay here.
Just gonna hang out.
Yeah,
and
that's
take
like-
out
it-
Cal Poly co-eds.
It's like the bears in Tahoe. They don't have to hibernate because they can just get food all the time. So they're like, oh, it's fine. We're good.
Yeah, we're just gonna
Just
hang out
stay
here and
eat
do our thing.
trash.
That's cool.
But it's funny because the wind farm is 35 miles off the coast. Doesn't that technically put that in international water? Because isn't international water 20 miles off the coast?
I think you're right. Yeah.
So it's like we built an American
I thought there was.
production facility way out
I
there.
think technically that's right, but I thought there was some agreement for a 90-mile distance,
Oh, is there? Oh, like a.
and maybe that's just for like warships. I don't know. I seem to remember something about 90 miles.
Being further. That one, that one was not covered in the article I read, but I was like, I thought that was international water.
Yeah, Kevin's brother. That's exactly what Casey was talking about. Was the underwater and Kevin the underwater turbines
Yeah,
that work on tides and tidal flow.
So what if you, instead of putting it in the ocean, you put it in some of the rivers where the rivers actually constantly flow?
Same problem though.
Same. It's the same.
Just the yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Well,
think about fish spawning
Yeah.
going upriver.
Now
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a massive piece of machinery in there.
True.
You know, not only is we're talking about electric machinery too. So there's electro vibration that also affects the water
Right.
and changes what the fish think. So it's a big problem. I mean,
Okay. So
Where
that's
is
out of
it?
the question.
Isn't there a dam somewhere where they found like 20-foot sturgeon?
the one in
And
Oregon.
Someone's just like some diver went down there and was like, nope, all bad.
Yeah,
like not a chance.
the one in Oregon.
And the Mississippi River has those giant catfish.
Yeah, those
Massive.
catfish get big. Yeah, they just sit on the bottom there and feed off those things.
Oh, he's talking about some turbines mounted on land. I don't know.
I had an uncle talk about diving there to work on underwater welding,
Yeah.
and he says that there were catfish that you can almost stand in and touch the top of their mouth and the bottom at the same time.
That'd be terrifying.
Right.
The flapper turbine. Yeah, though it's a wing based design. It flies,
Okay.
but it's connected to a pole.
Okay.
It,
So like
it
a kite?
It like think of like a wing, but it's a big paddle, and as one paddle goes up, the wind blows down the other side, and it lifts it back up, and it just kind of does that consistently.
Okay.
They're not efficient.
It
They
doesn't sound
look
like it.
cool. They're not efficient. I mean, the problem is, wind turbines are big, and
Didn't
they're
they change?
obnoxious.
Aren't there wind turbines now that are? I don't know that they can produce them at the size of the winds that you see like going through California, like the massive ones. But for like personal turbines, they're like conical.
Yeah, they have it's like three sort of blades that go from the top down, and they sort of make like a big teardrop. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the new style, because they don't need as much space.
Okay.
But you have the same problem as
Do they produce the same outflow that create like one of the things with wind turbines on land is that they create their own weather pattern on the backside.
yes, the taller ones do not.
Was this the answer to like, because we had windmills for a while, right? And that helped pump oil, or was it water? Or
I mean, the wind turbine can be used for a lot of things.
well, yeah.
And yeah, so you can come up to like oil pumps, so that the oil pumps aren't running off of energy like that have to be wired in. You just basically build your oil pump, and then you build a wind turbine, and the wind turbine just generates the power for the oil pump, which is cool as long as it's windy.
So the wind turbine is basically a step up from a windmill.
Yes,
Okay.
pretty much.
Yeah, but think about outside the desert Southwest, wind's going to be more reliable than sun.
Yes, this is true.
He's just pumping information. Look at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's talking about the wave flapper, not the air flapper.
The wave flapper?
Yeah, it's you built a concrete slab on the beach, and then you stick out this big paddle style deal, and it basically has a buoy, and it just goes up and down with the waves, and that generates the energy.
The current? Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, we are trying with certain things. I mean, just build a nuclear reactor and call it a good day. But people frown upon that.
Most of those are pretty clean now.
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of bad press
Yes.
covering the nuclear reactor.
Well, because when they go bad, they go really bad.
There is that problem. Yes, when it melts down in a city, that city is no longer livable.
Now, why don't we put them out in the middle of nowhere?
Power transmission.
Yeah,
Oh,
transmission.
Yeah, that's always the issue.
And people, you need a lot of people to run a nuclear power plant.
Fair.
They did. So Diablo was scheduled to be decommissioned, and they recommissioned it. Then Slow. For a couple of reasons. Turns out Slow has no power. Also, Slow has no jobs. Yeah.
So they kept it for the job thing.
Yes.
And
they
power.
took a lot of heat trying to shut that one down.
I bet.
I tell you what, though, I used to know the general manager of Diablo when I was in school there. The single most stressed human being I have ever met.
Oh,
Like, his jaw was clenched. I never saw him without his jaw clenched.
that
Like, he was a permanent ball of stress.
I couldn't do that job. That job is no
Not
thank you.
until he retires.
I mean, I don't think he'll ever be able to ditch it. Because, I mean, general manager of power plant, he's been doing work at high level in power plants for probably 20 years. And he's going to have that job for, 20 more. He's never going to get away from, he's never going to rewire his brain away from that stress at that point. It's never going to happen.
Okay, that's what you mean. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, he was a strange cat. Bob, I don't remember Bob's last name. He would come into the gym. That particular gym opened at 4:30 in the morning. And he was oft times there waiting for me to unlock the door. Like, he would start working out when I hadn't even turned the lights on yet.
Oh wow, he was there.
Yeah.
Because he had to go.
Yeah. I don't imagine he ever got more than about 4 hours of sleep. He struck me as one of those guys.
Oh,
And even then, it wasn't comfortable hours of sleep because he was always worried about getting a call, probably.
Probably.
What is the Little Pacific Project?
Do you know anything, Casey?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Oh.
I know a lot of these
Soul
projects.
Slasher's waiting for information on it. I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
I haven't either.
I'd have to look it up. But Lane,
Yes.
there is some news from the world of Disney.
Oh, I was about, you need to pause there.
Oh yeah, some news.
The Dacia Sandero is still not coming to the United States.
Still not released in the United States. No, so Disney, and their infinite wisdom of Disney, released a statement about why people don't like their content.
And it was
Oh, yeah,
wrong.
I heard
It was
They
all
have-
wrong.
They have cracked it now. This is it. Here we go. You ready? All right. So it's not because they've hired the wrong people.
Inexperienced
It's-
scrubs.
Yeah, it's not because they've gotten rid of all of the professionals. No. And it's not only the fault of the people watching, so you, the consumer, but it's COVID's fault too.
We're blaming
okay.
COVID now?
Yes. So apparently, because of COVID changing the way the world works, people that were working from home in these groups of writers and people who come up with ideas for shows and movies were sitting alone and not allowed to collaborate the way they were before COVID. And because they switched to fill the streaming platform with as much as possible, they said they put out too many bad ideas without properly vetting them. And so it's COVID's fault.
Yeah, except they're still doing it.
And I was like, okay, so that was like 3 years ago. What's your excuse now?
It's almost 4 years ago now.
Yeah, like you guys are producing plenty of terrible content. Like there can't be that big of a backlog of content that you haven't caught up to the fact that people can now collaborate in a room with each other to make good TV shows. Like
you
stop
think
trying
you just
to avoid the problem of it's you guys and not us.
Yeah, if that was the case, you'd think you'd just start dropping those ideas and say, okay, everything from this point on, we start with all the collaboration in the room at this point.
Yeah.
No, I mean, at this point, I think it's corporate ego. So there are some things, right? Like, okay, regardless of the actual merits of DEI, yeah, are we lighting the review cigars?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, we're 1 out of
regardless
5.
of the actual merits of DEI, what corporations won't tell you is that there was a financial advantage, and it wasn't on the revenue side. You fire all these guys who are making way too much money and hire all this super young talent that make nothing
Yeah.
in the world of writing and producing and, general production,
Yes.
and you save tens of millions of dollars, if not hundreds.
But at some point, your quality goes down so far that people just don't trust you anymore.
Yeah, but this is like a poker player that can't fold a bad hand because they're too invested.
Damn right, they're not gonna.
That's exactly where they're at.
No, you're absolutely right on that one. It's just, I was like, that's just so sad. That's how you think. You can't just accept the fact that you made terrible decisions, and that you've gone the wrong direction.
Oh,
and
wait.
you can bring it back.
All right, you ready for this?
All right,
Yeah.
what?
They were talking about boring a hole from the Pacific to Death Valley, creating a giant hole running a desalination plant and start pumping it into Lake Mead.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, the desalination plant. Yeah, that's never gonna work.
Yeah.
Do you know how fucking expensive that thing would be? Holy shit! We couldn't even build a hyperloop. How are we supposed to build a desalination?
Oh, but there's a plan. Listen, if it's successful, they want to run it all the way to Salt Lake City.
Don't they have enough salt water?
Yeah. No, actually, the Great Salt
Desalination.
Lake is drying up.
Oh, it's drying up.
They thought it was going to. So there's this thing that happens, deaths of lakes, and they thought that the Great Salt Lake was going to die a couple years ago.
Why'd they think
And
that?
it's still on track.
Why'd they think that?
Just,
They lose too much water and they lose the ecosystem, and then it becomes this like toxic, like it gets into the air. It's a huge problem. It was going to it was going to make Salt Lake City uninhabitable,
oh, yeah.
which still might happen at some point.
I'm thoroughly convinced, though, if you really want to change the ecosystem, you just do that solar farm thing they were talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And what?
All right, enough serious. Casey, what are we smoking?
This is the AJ Fernandez Enclave,
Which one?
the blue one.
I thought this was the red one.
I thought it was the red one too. It's the blue one.
Even though it's got a red label.
Well, it's the blue coloring around the band.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I did the red label thing too, and I remembered. Oh, it's actually the blue one.
What do we need to know about the blue one?
The blue one is a Habano Nicaraguan Puro.
Oh God, this is immediately incredible.
Yes.
Yeah,
I I grabbed one out of the box recently because I was like, oh, I'll smoke. I haven't had one of those in forever. And I'm like, why did I stop smoking this? This is fantastic.
What was I
because you
thinking?
almost smoked all of them last time we bought them.
I think we did, actually.
Yeah.
That
So
might be. Yeah.
that's probably why we stopped smoking them and forgot how good they were.
Yeah, I'll have to order more.
That's immediately really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's oh,
like
man.
first light. Although it does have that wrapped foot, so you get a bunch of flavor right off the bat,
Oh yeah.
which I like. I don't like because when you light it, you're going to get a bunch of ash going everywhere, and you got to be careful not to burn your shirt.
Yes.
I've
But I
lost
like the
many
flavor
shirts.
that it offers.
The destroyer of shirts.
That's right. Lost many of them. I think I have a pair of pants with a hole in them because of that.
I've lost a couple shirts. I'm
They,
like,
they were my
no.
expensive ones.
So are you on 16-hour days the next couple days? You're going to get up on the mountain?
No, I'm not anymore. I should be fine as long as nobody's sick.
Okay.
And everybody's getting sick apparently, and they're just passing it back and forth, and I'm just sitting here like,
Do you want to
okay.
see the letter my dad wrote? I have a copy.
You have a letter that your dad wrote?
Yeah, he's going to do a letter to the editor.
Oh hell yeah!
on
Really?
China Springs.
I would
Yeah.
like to see
Oh.
that at some point.
I'll show it to you.
I mean, this should be good. I know Coverly is still fighting to keep it around and up and moving around, so
Yeah.
hopefully that works out.
I think they'll figure it out.
Well, I told you that other stuff, but I
Yeah.
mean,
I think
that-
they'll figure it out.
they should.
You know.
It needs to
It's a
stay.
solid program.
And with our numbers compared to other places, the retention's a lot better than anything else. Because
Yeah.
we talked about retention.
Which is a huge measure of those facilities. I mean, a huge measure.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
For the evidence-based guys that are doing the analysis on the back end.
And sure, like we don't rake in money because you're sending troubled youth here to try and get them to think differently.
Right.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? Like, they're not supposed to rake it. This is what I was talking to my dad about this from an outsider perspective, right? From just someone who's had to budget casinos for a long time. So, because you have to guarantee a certain level of staff, what I was saying is from the outside, it looks like something where you need to fully fund it internally. Like, you can't look to the outside programs and the chargebacks to fund it. You have to fully fund it through guaranteed money. But what you do is you take that money and you give it to them like on a finance basis. So it's like a lease. And then the chargebacks, instead of the county taking the chargebacks, the facility takes the chargebacks and then pays back the lease, which I imagine you have to do for certain legal reasons as a loophole. But then like if you can bill out to, Medicare or whatever,
Yeah.
you can get money back and you can get a credit. But you have to look at that money as a bonus on the program that you can use for other things once it's charged back on the lease. But you also have to be willing to write off the entirety of the lease to fund the program. Like, you can't count on that.
Yeah.
But you have to have guaranteed funding for a certain number of beds. Because you can't hire someone quickly in those places.
No,
right?
and the
Like,
turnover's quick.
Yeah, so you have to be able to retain people. Like, retaining staff is going to be the most important thing.
Right now, we're doing pretty well. I haven't had anybody leave recently.
Yeah, but if you start losing funding and you have to get rid of those people,
Right.
you can't
Yeah.
bring them back quickly. Like, say you magically get 10 kids from some other county, you can't bring them back quickly. You have to be fully staffed all the time.
You have to be ready to
Yeah.
go.
And obviously, you and him would know more about that. But from an outsider perspective, looking at how you fund it, that would be my initial impression.
Okay.
This just seems like one of those programs, though, that should just automatically be funded by the state.
You would think it should automatically keep
The
getting...
problem is they've lost favor with the state. And not China Springs, these programs generally. ROP got into trouble and did some stupid shit. There was another one that had some varsity houses up here that one of my buddy's dad ran. They got into trouble for doing some stupid shit.
There was some in Vegas, and
Mm-hmm.
then some of the mental ones, like RBH.
So they just need a better oversight committee.
Yeah, which is what this is now. It's now with the county, and the whole county's this whole board's over the top of it, and now they're
Which I think is
starting to change
appropriate
things.
so long as you can guarantee funding.
Yeah, and it
Right.
used to be over the courts were over it, and there wasn't too much back and forth between it.
No, well, courts don't like to talk to people.
No, they do not.
Yeah.
On a good note, though, the fishing derby is coming back
Oh, really?
this year. End of May, beginning of June, that first weekend there.
Yeah.
So we'll be opening that. We're starting to get the ball rolling again. Because as we get closer, 3 months out, we start having more meetings back to back. We got pretty much everything set up. We're just trying to set up the porta potties and make sure that the bank's okay. So if you have a bunch of people on it, it's not going to slide in
Oh,
because
yeah.
all that snow and that
Yep.
runoff
Yep.
kind of like loosened up everything. So we're
Oh,
getting
dude.
close to that.
Coming back from North Lake last night,
Yeah.
someone going the other direction ran into what had to be an 800-pound boulder that came off the bank.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah, I saw their car was on the side. There were a bunch of cop cars there, fire truck. It was a big boulder.
It seems like it.
It's that time of year.
They were out in force today.
DCSO?
Oh, I saw 4 people pulled over
Ooh.
at different spots of 50.
Do you know the recidivism rate for your facility offhand? Your brother's asking.
I thought it was like 18.
I mean, that's phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
So, generally speaking, those programs, the recidivism rate is a well-run program. The recidivism rate is below 30. So the programs I'm more familiar, like a lot of these programs are built on more serious offenders.
Yeah.
And they
Okay.
leave, like they are hundreds of miles from where they come from.
Yes.
So the recidivism rate in a good program, I believe, is under 30.
Okay.
But if they go home, that number jumps to 85.
Interesting.
Yeah, the one thing they can't do after they graduate these programs
Is go back.
go home.
Because they go back into their gangs and all
but
this,
I
and back
don't-
in the same situation.
I don't know how long your program keeps them, but like ROP keeps them all the way through
180.
graduation.
We don't keep them that long.
Yeah, so
180 days.
ROP kept them, like the Varsity House program ran all the way through graduation.
Really?
And if they got to graduation and went somewhere else, literally anywhere else, the chances were they were going to lead a productive life. If they went home, all that went out the window.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's similar with us. A lot of our kids, when they go back home, some of them go back into that. But we have a couple that left their area and they're doing well. Like, we have one that came up here that's doing phenomenal.
Nice.
Oh, we got some cigar buyers.
Yes.
Hey, I'll take care of these guys. You guys want to end this so we can get to our reviews?
Yeah, we'll take us out.
Casey,
All right.
you want to do this?
Sure.
You always
Well,
do this, so it's on you. Oh, wait, no, I do
you-
it. What am I
you
saying?
always-
Hey, guys, what's
you
going on?
always do this.
Hey, listen, I'm used to the reviews and just putting on you and him.
I
You
know.
You guys are the pretty ones.
I know.
I think.
I
might be. I don't know.
I like to think that I'm dashing.
You're dashing.
Yeah. Dashing's a good explanation.
You could be. He's the handsome one. I'm the pretty one.
Pretty's a stretch.
Hey, pretty good looking for what I got.
Pretty fly for a white guy.
Exactly. All right, guys, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Go ahead and give us a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next live video. Till then, later.